Let's bring in Boyd Matheson, former Chief of Staff to Senator Mike Lee, and Democratic strategist Pablo Manriquez. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. Pablo, I have to ask you here. That was explosive last week, what James Comey said. That, we all remember that famous tarmac meeting between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch. What did they talk about? Who knows? Now we think we know. I mean, Loretta Lynch seemingly did pull back on the Clinton email investigation after that tarmac meeting that was so widely covered. Do you think that she's going to testify? Do you think she'll comment about this?
I mean, if she gets called, she needs to testify, obviously. I think that also that it's interesting, the timing. I mean, right now we have a situation where the president has said to Jeff Sessions that, he was kind of disappointed with him last week. And now now Jeff Sessions is about to testify, which is going to make him a bigger headline than the president, which is never a good place to be with Donald Trump. So I think that I don't want to imply too much here, but I think that it is interesting, the timing of Loretta Lynch being drawn back into the news from
total obscurity. So you don't think that there's anything there? You don't think that there's anything with regards to Loretta Lynch? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying there isn't anything there. I think that it was a very suspicious meeting, and I think that we do need to get to the bottom of it. I just think that the timing of it, I mean, this is something that we could have been talking about for months now. I think that the timing of it coinciding with Jeff Sessions' testimony is interesting, though.
Boyd, what do you think the relationship is right now between the president and Jeff Sessions?
I'm sure it's a little bit strained, and I think what happens this week will probably be a big indicator in terms of where it goes next. Jeff Sessions is a good man. I think he'll do well. As we talked about earlier this morning, he understands the Senate and how those kind of hearings operate. So I think he'll be able to do just fine and navigate that. I think the bigger thing is that they really move forward and pivot away. In all of these types of things, regardless of who's in the Oval Office, the big test is not investigations. There will always be investigations. The big test is, can you handle the investigation, and can you continue to be focused on your agenda? We saw last week that the administration really lost focus on transportation, something that is very bipartisan, something where the president actually leans probably more towards the Democrats, but they weren't able to manage the messaging of that and stay focused on the right issues.
Well,
so I think
Boyd,
Jeff Sessions has a big test.
Also, Boyd, you had Donald Trump's attorney coming out and saying, I mean, he's ready to file lawsuits and complain and everything. Isn't that kind of a bad strategy? That doesn't make the story go away.
No, you're absolutely right, Cheryl. We always talk about Ronald Reagan being the great communicator. It wasn't because he could give a great speech or deliver a good line. It was because he understood the discipline of focused communication. He knew he could only really move the needle and move the country on 3 or 4 issues, and so he let all the other distractions go away. What the administration has to do is get focused. Focus always precedes success in any administration.
Right.
They've got to get to jobs and the economy.
Guys, it's great to have you on this morning. We could talk about this all morning. Boyd and Pablo, thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Hey, thanks.